Hey, everybody. I hope you're doing well today. This is Brad Cartwright with Econ Course Companion, and today we're going to take a look at the profit maximizing level of output in a monopoly, understanding how to find it. This is a critical level of output that you need to know how to find on every diagram, not just for monopoly, but also for perfect competition, which looks a little bit different, oligopoly and monopolistic competition, okay? But let's take a look at how we do this in Monopoly. All right, well, this is the base diagram, and if you haven't understood how to construct this base diagram, I would suggest you go back and check out a previous video that talks about how to construct these diagrams, because there's a very set way that you should go about doing all of these diagrams when it comes to theory of the firm, okay? Very quickly, what you need to do is you need to think about the fact that this monopoly is a price maker's market. What does that mean? It means that they're going to have a downward sloping demand curve, and we know that demand always equals average revenue, and it's going to have a marginal revenue curve that descends at twice the rate of average revenue. So marginal revenue is always going to descend twice the rate, and this is how you should draw it, and this is taken from Jocelyn Blink's Course Companion. And the marginal revenue curve should always extend through zero because your marginal revenue can actually go negative, okay? Then you come back and you draw your marginal cost curve like that, and the profit maximizing level of output is always in all of the diagrams for theory of the firm where MC equals MR, okay? So you're not looking for that point though, but what you're thinking about is this quantity level, because we're trying to find the profit maximizing level of output. Well, what's that? Well, that's Q here. So the firm right here is going to have the best chance at maximizing its profits if it produces at this quantity level. Why is that? It's very simple. Look at the two curves. As this firm, right, is producing this quantity level before it gets to Q, at a level right here, the cost of producing it is there, but the revenue they generate for producing it is there. But as they get closer and closer to Q, what happens? Well, their costs get closer to the revenue, but even here, they're still making a profit per level of output, right? So in other words, if the cost is this, they're making that much revenue on this quantity of goods. But the next one, at the level of Q, this is where the cost of making that unit of output equals the revenue they will gain when they sell that unit of output. And when it goes past Q, any value of output, or Q, beyond where MC equals MR, it's very obvious. What's going to happen? Well, it's going to cost them this amount to make this quantity, but what's the revenue that they're going to get on that marginal output? Less than the cost. So what firm would ever produce here, if they're profit maximizing, right? What firm would ever produce beyond Q if they're going to make something that they're actually going to lose money on per unit? No, they're not going to do that. So Q becomes a very defining level of output. The profit maximizing level of output is Q. This does not say, this is very important, this does not say that they will actually make a profit, because this is just where they have the profit maximizing level of output. This is where they could possibly have the potential, there we go, the potential to make the most amount of profit. But the determining factor, as we'll see in the next slide, is going to be what their average costs are, or where the average cost curve comes. Okay, so take a look at the next slide and it's going to make sense. So here we go, right? Profit levels of monopoly. Here's the graph we had on the previous slide, right? This level of Q right here is the profit maximizing level of output. And if this firm's cost curve, the average cost curve, intersects this level of output below price, guess what? They'll make profits. That's not hard, right? Because this firm does not make money until they cover their average costs, which is C in this level, right? So at this level of output, Q becomes your marker. You draw this up to price. That's the price that you're going to get per unit of output, right? At Q, this is the price, A. And if the firm's costs cross this level of output below the price, hello, what's going to happen? Well, dude, they're going to make some profit. Okay? So every unit of at every unit or at every cost level between this intersection of marginal revenue and marginal cost curve, if their average costs are between these 2 points, they will make abnormal profits, as seen in this diagram. Okay, so if you get a question that says, hey, show abnormal profits in a monopoly, guess what? You draw that diagram, you find Q, you come down here, you draw your average cost curve. Just make sure that the bottom of the average cost curve, right, the lowest point of the average cost curve is where it crossed the marginal cost curve. That's important. And then you take that level of Q, you extend it up, and boom, this is your abnormal profit, PABC. All right, that's going to happen if their costs are below price. Well, that's not always the case. What about over here? This is the same diagram, so this is a loss, same diagram. But remember, I was saying this is just the profit maximizing level of output, the potential they have to make output. This is the most likely amount of quantity where they could make profit. But if their average cost curve is above price, if their average cost curve intersects this quantity level above the price, well, hello, dude. Guess what? That's super easy. They're getting this price, but it costs them that much to make it. So naturally, they're going to have a loss. And so when you draw this average cost curve like that, you just need to make sure that the bottom of it is on the marginal cost curve. But you just show that, look at, hey, man, the intersection of this level of output and average cost is above P, and so they have a loss. But the point here isn't even profit loss. The point is the importance of Q, the importance of Q, the importance of Q, the importance of Q. If you don't know how to find the profit maximizing level of output, you can't draw these diagrams, okay? This piece of information is critical, not just to these diagrams in monopoly, but you'll see in monopolistic competition, it's the same. All right, my friends? So now, that's what you need to think about. How do you find Q? The profit maximizing level of output is always where MC equals MR. And if you need to show abnormal profit, just show it like that. Draw your average cost curve like that. You need to show loss, draw it like that. If you needed to show normal profit, you would draw it so it's a tangential point there, but the AC curve bottoms out there and goes up, and you would show normal profits because the costs, in that case, the average costs at this level of output would be equal to the price. All right, my friends, I hope you realize as you go through these diagrams that this gets easier and easier and easier. These revenue curves and the profit showing cost curves they're replicated in each chapter. In perfect competition, they look a little bit different, but it's the same principles. In monopoly and monopolistic competition, you're going to see they're they're the exact same diagram. And the thing that's cool about the IB is they tell you to show them an abnormal profit or normal profit or a loss. And therefore, you have the power to put that average cost curve wherever you need to put it in order to give them what they want. All right, my friends, be kind to yourself out there. I hope this video is helpful, and we'll talk to you in a bit.